Good evening and welcome to the Cover One Buffalo podcast. You are joining your host, Greg Tompsett, along with my partner in crime, Aaron Quinn. Aaron, how we doing?
I had a much better second 30 minutes of that game than I did a first 30 minutes of that game. But hey, you know what? Josh said it at the end of the game. I have it on the board. I have it on my the sub tag here. You got to find a way sometimes in the NFL here. And this one, I think we talked about it a little bit this week when you weren't here, Greg. We were talking about like you couldn't let this team, the Steelers, drag you into the mud, and it felt like the first half
they did.
Yeah. And the Bills fought their way back out of the mud, out of the deep waters, to walk away with a win. Tell the people why we're here.
You are joining us because the Buffalo Bills have defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 26-7 by achieving a Steelers franchise record 249 rushing yards in Pittsburgh, the most that the Pittsburgh Steelers had given up in their stadium in franchise history.
Just two types of running
plays. They literally only ran two plays over and over and over again. James Cook 144 yards rushing on 32 carries. James Cook got 32 carries in an NFL game.
That's a lot of
Ray Davis, 9 for 62. Yes, it's literally like an entire box, a pallet of smelling salts. Sheesh. Josh Allen, 8 for 38. Ty Johnson with a fullback dive and 2 carries for 5 yards. This was an ugly game. The first half was terrible. But ultimately, the first half was one of those games where we gave up 87 yards of total offense in the first half and 6 first downs, and we're losing because we had 2 turnovers. And you take away those turnovers, this was a dominant game. Correct. Held the Steelers to 166 total yards. They had 10 total first downs. This was obviously a beleaguered Pittsburgh team, but a Pittsburgh team that had beaten other teams and was leading their division and had, like you said, dragged other teams down into the mud. And, they tried to make us, our tax from Never Ending Story, but we got out of the mud. In the first half, it was real close. We were like a horse that was going to be drowning in the mud, and somehow we pulled ourselves out.
Yeah, it was self-inflicted, though, to your point. Like, they were dominating still, even though it didn't feel like it at 7-3 at half. The Bills were dominating that football game. I think both at the line of scrimmage and the trenches. On the stat sheets, they were dominating that game. Josh Allen wasn't having a clean game. I do think that they got the Bills have a tendency to do this. They did this in the wind game too. Daboll, back in the Daboll days, where they get a little too conservative from their pre-game feelings. And I understand why. You've got Watt, Herbig, like you want to eliminate. You don't want Josh dropping back. You want to eliminate him taking those hits. And obviously it worked. No sacks on the day. Complete 180 from a week ago. But I do think early in the game, they were scared and timid to pass on some occasions. Maybe there was a one set here when we go through the play-by-play where Ray Davis broke off 2 really nice runs. Would have been a great time to do some play action. I don't know if Brady would have against a different opponent, or they were hesitant to put the ball in the air early in this game. But I do think that hurt him a little bit. But obviously when they did put the ball in the air on that first drive, it gets intercepted. And then James Cook bopping one off of his knee is just bad luck.
That's just dumb. Yeah.
That's just a dumb luck one. Those are the penalties that are really hard to quantify in statistics. Like it'll look good for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense to come away with another one and it'll boost up their ratings, but that's just a self-inflicted wound. But on top of those, Greg, the other thing that hurt in that first half was some of the penalties, right? Anderson had a big one on a third down to make it was like a third and manageable. He went on a false start, making it a third and long, getting yourself into those kind of situations when you don't have the receivers and are down. That's the ugly stuff that's going to allow a team that shouldn't be in a game, like we saw in the second half, in a game longer than they should.
Yeah. Ultimately, they took control of a game that, weirdly, even losing 7-3, they played better than the Steelers in the first half, but they showed all the reasons of all the flaws that we're all aware of. And I've got some bad news followed by some good news for everyone listening. We are a flawed team. We are the paper tiger that people are accusing us of being. We don't deserve to win the division or to win multiple playoff games or to go to a Super Bowl. We don't deserve any of those things. And I genuinely feel that. Like we are just an incredibly flawed team. However, there are no great teams. I thought the Rams were the best team in the league. They lost to Bryce Young today. The Eagles got embarrassed by the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are the number 1 seed in the NFC. The Colts lost to the Texans today. The Colts are now like 3rd in their own division after being like the greatest team ever. There are no good teams. 2 teams that are flawed paper tigers are going to make it to the Super Bowl and are not going to deserve it, but it's going to happen. Like 2 teams that aren't all that good are going to make it to the Super Bowl and aren't going to deserve it. We could be that paper tiger that doesn't deserve it. Like nobody knows. 2 fan bases are not going to care. The 2 fan bases of those 2 teams are not going to care whether their team deserved to make it to the Super Bowl or deserved to win those 3 playoff games to put them into a Super Bowl. It's just going to happen because there are no dominant teams. There's no heavy favorite. There's no, I guarantee this team's going to do it. There's like a dozen teams that you can realistically see making a run and getting hot at the time. And we are flawed. We are incomplete. We are inconsistent. It's more likely that we're going to lose a dumb game that frustrates the crap out of us. But we are also one of those 12 teams, and 2 of them are going to make it to the Super Bowl. It's just the way that the math works.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said you just got to get hot right at the right time. Yeah. I do think also the season really starts now after Thanksgiving. I've been saying the whole time. I don't think the Bills have gotten themselves into a good footing to start the season at this point, allowing the Patriots.
We've given up our freebies.
Yeah, you gave up the freebies. This isn't the first time they've done this either. I put it in the in our DM group earlier today. I had a tweet from like 3 years ago or something about the defense needing, like, being so banged up and going into a November game and how the season was going. And it felt very reminiscent of how we probably all felt this week. And it is incomplete. It is flawed. They always have been in a lot of ways. There's always been something about this team that we've complained about, whether it was not having anyone in run defense. We're still complaining about that, although today looked a lot better. I can pull up old memories from tweets and posts I had about we didn't give the ball to Diggs enough this time of year a couple years ago. And all you got to do is get hot at the right time. I do think they have the personnel to match any of these teams. To your point, like, none of the top teams that are contenders scare me that the Bills can't. It might not be in years past where I felt like, the Bills will win 8 out of 10 times, but I still think it's 6 out of 10. I still think it's 7 out of 10 with some of these teams. So I like the Bills' chances. They are also battle tested, which I think is going to matter once it comes to January football. You have a lot of young teams up at the top of the AFC that have no playoff experience, including their coaches. I do think that is where it comes into hand for the Bills. But as much as I dislike Tony Romo, Greg, I do think he made a good point towards the end of the game in talking about this time of year, and it is the start of the year, and that teams are starting to define who they are and find out who they are. And I do think this, Bills are going to rally around this concept that they've used before of find a way, and almost like the old Patriots one of do your job. Just like, come in, let's find a way to grind out these wins. We know we can grind out close games. Stop turning the ball over. Let's go on a run. And you can really buy into that idea. But they still have some high-end players on this team that just have to get healthy all at the right time and go on a nice special run here over the next month.
Yeah, shout out to my fantastic, amazing cousin Sarah, who called me out here. You're right. I do take it back that there are 12 teams that will make to the Super Bowl and that their fan base won't care and they won't deserve it unless it's the Chiefs. Then we'll all be mad. That is completely valid. That's a great call by Sarah.
Yeah.
And I love Patton obviously always has us here. And yeah, I love his comment. It's the play on the joke about, what they call the guy who graduates last in his medical class, doctor. You know what they call a paper tiger that wins the Super Bowl? Champions. I will take it and rewrite the history in my brain.
Giants fans do not care that people are like, they didn't deserve those.
Like right here, I dare someone to make me feel bad about a pity Super Bowl we don't deserve. I dare someone. They'll pry it from my cold dead fingers. I wouldn't care at all.
It's hard to do. Let's just do it once.
Yeah, just one time. So today, before I even get into any other players, any of the other people, I did credit the run game overall and James Cook and rattle off the run stats, but that's because of our Lord and Savior, Aaron Kromer. Aaron Kromer just did those things of setting the franchise record of the most yards given up in the Steelers' home stadium in front of their fans in franchise history with 2 backup tackles. didn't have Deion Dawkins, didn't have Spencer Brown, and went for 249 yards rushing on 51 rushing attempts and 0 sacks. Josh got sacked 0 times. We ran the ball for 249 yards. Just unbelievable in the way that they were able to put this together and to draw that up. And that I was certainly concerned. Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt, backup tackles. I was very nervous. They're obviously not Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter, but they're darn good. Like, they're in the top 5 combos of defensive ends. And the fact that I don't particularly recall either of them, I guess Highsmith impacted that one, like not tight end screen, but that play action crosser they had to Knox where he might have scored or got down to probably the first and goal.
There were some hurries and stuff, but
there was some stuff where they did it, but the plan they had to chip and protect and help 2 backup tackles. Calling Alec Anderson a backup tackle was even generous. He's an interior offensive lineman that last played tackle in college. And for him to put together that game plan for, breaking the Steelers record, I saw Mark Caboli, one of the top reporters for the Steelers, said in his entire life covering the Steelers, he had never heard Renegade get booed at home. Yeah. Like, their big song they always play going into the fourth quarter. They had to wait a minute because we had the ball going in there. And it got booed at home. To do that kind of demoralizing play and dominance, I'll save it for when we get to the drive of the game, but we finished that game with 2 drives that went 29 plays, 155 yards, and 17 minutes and 14 seconds off the clock.
Yeah.
That is like snatch your soul kind of dominance.
Yeah, I do think we also have to give some, like our friend Bruce Nolan says, give some of the pie here. I think Brady also deserves some credit for sticking with the run game. We get frustrated with that and spamming plays. People are criticizing constantly for spamming plays. And I get that there's some conversation to this matchup of you were playing kind of a toothless offense, so you could afford to be playing this style of game, but you played to the game that you had to. And you also had issues on offense that forced you to play a certain way. And so kudos to him for sticking with the patience to run, because there were a couple times where they came out and didn't get it on first down and weren't ahead of the sticks on some of these first down runs. And they were able to continue some of those drives. But to be able to stick with that type of run game, super impressive. So definitely, I think Cromer gets the most. I think Brady's right there. But then also a guy that's been taking a ton of heat here over the last month. I want to give some credit to Brandon Beane, because I do think this also speaks to the level of offensive line talent and depth that he's gotten. A couple of years ago, Greg, we were talking about how you were still needing starting guards in front of Josh Allen, right? And he's gotten so much depth where, I don't think Alec Anderson's going starting anywhere, but he is primarily an interior guy, but he can play all 5 spots. That's a super valuable piece to have. And last year he was even more valuable. Obviously they got Hawes doing that sort of additional offensive lineman type stuff, but he can do that. He can be a move piece for you. Additionally, Vandermark has stepped in multiple times and played pretty well in that spot. So I think that
it's weird how much better he is at left tackle than right tackle, but yes, it's been nice.
That's something for some guys. It's just that muscle memory thing is just the way that it is. And I even think, he just got off injured reserve. I think Tylen Grable is also like, they have real depth at this position.
Grable's the legit swing tackle, and we didn't even have him for most of the year. So now getting all of that back, you're spot on. Like, the fact that Cromer has built that kind of depth is in hell. I think Cedric Van Prank Granger played this jumbo 6th offensive lineman in this game, because I saw him in a couple times, and I again, it was all kind of scrambled. I saw him after the play was moving, but I think he was the guy who was in declaring eligible on the jumbo set. So we just rattled off 8 guys that they're just incredible to have that kind of depth.
Oz is big a part of this too, and a big part of this run game. He's a weapon. I think he and Gilliam are a real weapon that the Bills have in the postseason run game.
When the weather gets bad,
you got to go on the road to Denver and run a game and really play some physical game. This is the kind of way you're going to have to grind out wins. So kudos to him. And honestly, this type of run game doesn't happen. We haven't hit all the position groups. Shout out to the wide receivers. This is a game where wide receivers got to get dirty.
Shavers worked his butt off tonight.
Absolutely. You're going to get limited targets. You know that going into a game like this. And not everyone took advantage of the targets that they did get on a limited basis. But what they did was block every single time.
No better example than that. By not many targets, you mean zero, because Terrell Shavers got 0 targets and probably had the best game of any receiver.
Just blocking his butt off. I think Shakir had a rough game in the pass game, and I think but all those receivers were setting that edge. You heard Romo kind of talk about over that allowed Cook to leak out on some of that stuff. His vision's incredible. The whole thing just came together really well. Just get rid of the turnovers, so you can do that every game.
On that play that kept spamming, Shavers was the point guy, and he had to block outside linebackers and safeties and defensive ends the whole time, and did it over and over and over again. Cal had a great one that matched up my my comment earlier. Does our defense still suck? I can't tell, because the whole league is high on basketball this season. That's the whole key. Like we are not a great team. We're barely a good team. But there's no great teams. So when there's all good teams that are going to be in the playoffs, no great teams, then everybody's got a shot. So our defense will be an issue. I'll maybe if Ed Oliver gets back, and we'll get to it in a minute here. But Shaq Tompsett looked awful nice tonight.
I think Shaq looked good.
To be weird.
I think Dorian's look good. Benford's coming together. He's putting together some nice
back
reps.
to his full capabilities and full health.
Absolutely. Bishop still looks good. A couple mistakes out there. Poyer looks fine. We're not talking about how that has stabilized with Poyer in place, especially in the run game. There's a lot to like on defense, and I think it's trending in the right way, but it's easy to trend in the right way when you're at the bottom, right? Like getting back to average should be okay.
Well, I don't even know if we're average yet. Today we were great, but that, like you said, very toothless team we were playing. I'm not ready for average, but
defense is about an average pass defense. It's the run defense that's really weighing down all the defensive statistics and stuff like that. And that should get a nice boost here from this week. But again, even when you flip to the other side, I do think the one thing they are elite at is they have an elite run game. Like the offensive statistics are weighted by that run game by a lot.
Yeah, a very professional transition. Darrell here, this is my biggest L of this offseason by far. I openly thought that the difference between James Cook and Ray Davis was negligible, and that a backfield of Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, and Frank Gore Jr. versus a backfield of Cook, Davis, and Johnson was negligible. And that was flat out wrong. Like the ability and the difference of making additional yards when they're not there by a good run blocking offensive line, a good scheme. Like Aaron Cromer's put together a good scheme. So they're creating a ton of opportunities, but his ability to bounce, find cracks, and find additional yards when they're not there is unbelievable. So Darrell's spot on here. To think there was a chance that Cook would not be in a Bills uniform this season is terrifying. He's so good. Keep up the good work, guys. Go Bills. Appreciate you very, very much. Yeah, that's absolutely spot on.
People don't want to hear it, and it's a tough thing to think about because you have Josh Allen, and he's such a talent, and we've seen the high end of his talent. The fastball of the 2025 Buffalo Bills is the run game. It's James Cook in the run game, and I don't know if that's bad. Come January, like if you punch a ticket here and shore up some of the defense and run the ball like you have been, that's a tough combo in the playoffs to get by. And you still have the idea that Josh Allen can bust out at any time. And he's still with a we're acting here. Josh Allen still had a very super impactful game in this one. So like he can do those things in addition to the run game. But I think the fastball is in this run game.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly correct. So when the running game is the fastball, that means the play action is more powerful. That means you're not leaning on Josh to have to be Superman all the time. And then when you don't need it to be that way, then when he has great games, that's when we dominate teams. When we just run away with teams. If he's just fine, like today, like that, the ugly pick that he forced, he had a couple other misses today. The wind was a factor, but he didn't force it. He let the run game dominate today. He wasn't checking into other plays. He was leaning into it, and it really makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Theontopus here saying, love you guys. Glad Greg make it back, but I'm sad he had to leave the best place on earth. Amazing game. They got their game rolling when it mattered, and the defense looked lethal. Keep it up, boys. Again, I'm not ready for lethal yet, but the defense looked great today. All you can do is dominate a weak offense.
You line up against.
So they did that. I don't, we'll find out against Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and that's actually going to be a great test because
they won't stop them.
The Bengals are not a good run offense. So being in a position where now you're going to have to play a team that is the pass heaviest team in the league when our pass defense is actually okay. That is going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how that goes.
The problem with that one's going to be volume.
Jamar Chase, it terrifies me.
Part of the success of the pass defense has been volume, right? Teams are running on the Bills and have been able to do that even from behind and still stay in a game. Like that is the weakness of the Bills. So I am very I don't mean to light our friend Greg's fire a little bit, but I am very nervous about what they can do. I'm hoping that the Bills can control with James Cook in the run game, though, and you do what teams have always tried to do to Josh Allen and keep Joe Burrow and that offense off the field with what we'll talk about later, some of these long sustained drives where you just eat up half of a quarter.
Yeah. And I just saw a quote from TJ Watt in the post-game press conference. I've never seen a team run the same play that much and have that kind of success.
Yeah. Straight up. I don't play as much Madden as I used to. I'll play with the kids every once in a while, but I would play my brother a lot because we live out of states and stuff. I hope he doesn't watch this but I would do what the Bills just did so annoyingly and just run out entire quarters on him and just like score like 4 yards at a time, 3.5 yards at a time, and go for it on fourth down and stuff. But that's what it felt. It was just the same play over and over again. But you know what, man? Bills fans are frustrated that he spams plays. And I get it. When it doesn't work, that sucks. And it's super frustrating to watch. But when it's working, to have the balls to go up and say, until you stop this, we're gonna just keep doing it. We're doing it. Josh was pointing out to Shavers, block this guy. Like, we're gonna run here.
Yeah.
It's so disrespectful. And I would do it too. If you can't stop it, okay, we'll just keep doing this and run this game out. And they did it. So
speaking of, Dylan had this comment here. Josh was actually making the right choice as far as evading and rolling out today. This season, he's been wrong more than usual. Today was back to form. Yeah, I do agree. Like the one, obviously, he missed on the slant. Like he threw that ball to the Steelers defender.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that was just a miss by him. Yeah. But besides that play, and I think he panicked a little bit on the one play. He had more room than he realized and could have, gotten it with a little more touch to Knox on that play. But the fact that we're nitpicking those two plays,
Shakir one too, where he hit him on the back shoulder. Both of them were in rush.
Yeah, that one would have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
But those kind of things are just small misses, and again, heavy wind there, and a good defense. Like their secondary in Pittsburgh with Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr. They've got picked up Cal Duggar. They've got talented guys there. So that puts
right here. I want to bring this point up. I was just going to say this. I don't know what Josh Allen said to Hayward, but here S173 says Hayward was spazzing out. For the guy that wins the sportsmanship award, he pisses a lot of people off. Hayward was for 3/4 of this game. He wouldn't stop.
Yeah, all I can think of is, and Romo, for as annoying as he was spot on that Hayward is like that Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald, Reggie White guy, where like everyone says like, hey, we talk trash to everybody. Or Larry Allen used to be this way for the Cowboys. Like, hey, John Randall, honestly the most famous trash talker in NFL history, John Randall, used to say, I talk trash to everyone except for Larry Allen, because you don't want to piss off Larry Allen. And I think there's a piece of that where Cam Hayward gets trash talked to so infrequently that I think it triggered him. Like, I think it just
mad.
like it set him off so badly that he got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and he was jawing at them and Josh specifically after every single play. Like, I don't.
Yes,
maybe
Metcalf
Josh
and Benford were going at it too. All day.
Maybe Josh said something genuinely disrespectful. Maybe he might have.
I hope so.
But it was very odd for literally the NFL Man of the Year winner, and honestly, like one of the most respected guys in the league. He looked like unprofessional and like unsettled. Like he looked rattled, and you don't see a guy like a really revered veteran look rattled all that often. He looked bad. Like it made him look bad.
Super mad. So yeah, great point there. I wanted to bring that one up.
Yeah. It's the best kind of super chat. Fiantopoulos had so much to say that that they ran out of space and had to write another one.
Hey.
Ran out of space. Wanted to say, "Go Bills, go cover one." You guys work is the first thing I come to for YouTube. So stay great and let's get it all this year. Yeah, I agree completely.
Appreciate you.
Really appreciate you. That's awesome. One last one here. I want to see us lean into this dominant run game. Cook and Davis and Angry Josh. We have a shot. You got. I will say I mean all the stuff I said about we are flawed. It's most likely that this season does not end the way that we want it to. However, if something were to happen because there's no good teams and because somebody who doesn't deserve it is going to make it, it's going to be because the run game stays hot and Josh hits enough play action plays off of there. And today we didn't get a ton of it of what we needed, but that we get even more turnovers. I think we were equal in the turnover battle today. I think it was 2-2.
We made up for it, in the second half.
We gave up too early and we got too later. So we got them timing wise and we survived the early ones.
We killed them in explosives.
So
they might those two to Washington late, maybe. Yeah, gotten back a little bit. But anyways, it was. I think we got them in explosives pretty good.
Yeah, so it wasn't really a factor there. All right, so for the rest of the offensive players and the other contributions, obviously wasn't Josh's best passing game, but 15 to 23 for 123 yards.
And without Palmer, without your tackles, without Palmer, without Kincaid, all to be expected.
Yeah, so hit on a couple clutch play action plays when it was needed, was able to make a handful of plays when it was needed, and then made a couple clutch runs, picking up first down, scoring touchdown. Although that touchdown run was disrespectful. Like they had him fully stopped, and then we shoved him an extra 3 or 4
and he's
yards.
Laughing at him the whole way. And you could see him just laughing at Cam
Hayward
wasn't mad already.
That was such a spirit crushing touchdown drive because they made this. It's like the feeling when you have everybody covered on defense and then you have a non-running, like a Tom Brady, Matt Stafford kind of guy run for a first down on 3rd and 7 while you have everybody covered. It's just so demoralizing when you did the thing you were supposed to do, but they score anyways. It's just completely demoralizing.
Although that isn't supposed to be allowed from my understanding of the rules, but the NFL always does seem to allow it more and more over the last handful of years. But I always thought once you couldn't push a guy from behind in that. I know they can do the tush push, but once the play comes to physical stop, I didn't think you could push forward and drag a guy forward.
So that's different. You can't drag a guy. You can't pull your own player.
There's for sure guys.
The reason that they don't, and the reason that what they'll tweak on the tush push rule, which will get changed this offseason, which might change plays like this, it depends. You actually can't, so there was a rule where you can't push your own player. You can push the other team. So when they come up, if they're pushing on a defender and that's moving the pile, that's not a penalty. And I think they're incredibly flexible on when they call that, because there are obvious times where they push the running back directly in the back to push him, but a lot of times it is a pile of defenders and the runner, and that they make contact with the defender and then push that group forward. So I think a fair amount of the times it legitimately is legal, and that will continue to be legal because you can push that's blocking. Pushing the defender forward is blocking.
I'll have to watch the play again. I think they're very loose with it, so it doesn't really matter. My understanding is that play should have been dead the moment he stops. There shouldn't be a stop backwards and then forwards.
That's the biggest key is the enforcement of the stop of forward momentum. Couldn't be in. That's something that's within the rules now that they could just decide to call more carefully. That hey, forward progress has been stopped and the play's over, and that that is one of the highest variance plays in the league of how often that's called. That is crazy flex. The times when they do that. Yeah. Anything else on the offensive side before we flip to defense?
No, work in progress.
I thought David Edwards had a rough game.
Who's that?
I mean, it's Cam Hayward, and they have other Keanu Benton and other good interior guys. I saw Edwards get beat multiple times where it was noticeable. Sure. Where it's okay, he had a rough game.
I think it also is impactful having to the other guys on the line having new guys in at those positions. Sure. I do think James Cook's vision saved them a number of times on some of those inside runs for sure. But I mean, like you said, that's a tall task on that interior, and to be able to hold up for a whole game, I'll take it. But yeah, he was noticeable at a few times. Obviously, the concerns are not that some of the guys didn't make plays on the ball that you'd want to. Keon had one where he wanted to make a play on it. Shakir had one himself too. Obviously, the targets were limited. You'd like to see guys coming up with them. There was one I had marked that was pretty frustrated with Shakir. I know it would have been a tough catch. I expect him to make tough catches, right? I get on here every week and talk about the player I think he is. The player I think he is makes the catches that I'm frustrated he didn't make in this game. So those things all need to get cleaned up. I do think if you get Palmer back, you get Kincaid back, get your offensive line back, get your tackles back, then I do think you can build on some of the success that they've had in the run game. So I'm not out on the offense, but yeah, this game didn't change a ton for me.
Yeah, not a huge impact here. On the defensive side of the ball, I do think Shaq Thompson is one of the lead here. I know I haven't heard anything. We'll talk to fantastic producer Colin Ritchie here on if we hear any news on Joey Bosa. I know he was questionable to return with a hamstring at the end of the game. I don't know if that was just precaution. But again, if we need to, put him on ice for a week or two, like I have no concern for that.
You just want to see Shaq Lawson play.
We have no. Let's start with Fox first, but we'll figure out where that goes.
Yeah.
I do think that Rousseau had the big tackle for a loss late. Bosa had obviously the strip sack fumble that sparked the entire game, and broke Aaron Rodgers' nose, which that's a shame. But Shaq Thompson was by far the most noticeable defender. Just the ferocity that he makes hits with, his ability to still get into space pretty decently at his advanced age. Like he moves pretty well for an old guy. Like it's pretty impressive. And I didn't expect that to be the case here. I know that obviously there's no question about a healthy Terrell Bernard versus the 31-year-old Shaq Thompson. But the version of a, gutting it out way less than 100% Terrell Bernard was less than this version of Shaq Thompson. Like Shaq Thompson played better than what we've been able to see from Bernard. So I'm very curious. Obviously, they've also done some interesting things. Milano's coming off the field on a lot of third downs. So I want them to keep resting Bernard, because our best combination is finding a way to use Bernard and Thompson when we get Terrell Bernard healthy. I'm kind of curious how they might work things together here and who is in what spots. I thought Dorian looked solid at times as well. There were no obvious gaffes from Dorian. They didn't expose him in coverage or in different spots, although again we take him off the field on a lot of third downs as well. So I'm curious how that's going to work if we get guys back healthy, because I kind of want to find a way to keep Shaq Thompson on the field.
Yes, I do think that this matchup played particularly well to have to play Shaq and Dorian. They're a little toothless in the passing game, even to Metcalf. I like Metcalf. I was surprised how little they
should have tested that way more.
Really get him going, because his physical ability. But
both Gainwell and Jalen Warren out of the backfield, screens to them out in space. Like there was a lot of stuff I was expecting that didn't happen.
It's been all year that like Metcalf hasn't really. There's been glimpses of their ability to hit, but that hasn't really connected him and Rodgers. That the offense feels a little toothless. So to your point though, they did their job and they dominated a team that they're supposed to. So that's all good things. To me, Christian Benford, I think, stood out the most, only from the not just the big plays. I think some of the big plays were just being in the right place at the right time. Weren't, but there was run stops a number of times where he was in there playing very physical run stops. He was in position on coverage a number of times, making good plays. Physically, he looks back to the player he is. And if he is back, I think he's the best Bills defender when he's back playing the way that he's supposed to be playing. And so you see him rising up those charts back to the spot. Bruce Nolan had posted about that this week. He's getting back to the spot he is. Trey White had a number of good reps in this game. I think it would look good. We didn't notice Max Harrison. I think that's a good sign that there's going to be games where he doesn't make the big splash plays, but he's also not necessarily noticeable for making bad plays. I think that's totally fine in a good spot to be in. And so I do think it was Benford for me, just for the idea that if he's playing at a high level, that's a true elite player in the league, and the Bills are lacking on those right now.
Yeah, they need him to play at that level, and that then having that kind of flexibility with Trey White puts them into a good position to be able to do it. I will say, I'm curious to see the snap percentage. I know because they didn't get a lot going from a pass.
There was a lot of 3 and outs. Yeah,
like I don't know how much Hairston played or if they kept doing the rotation with Trey White, but
I didn't track it. It seemed like the rotation was the same, but again, you had a bunch of like 3 and outs where you wouldn't have noticed.
Correct. Yeah, where they didn't go at him, and again, they didn't test it. Heck, I don't even know who the next other starting receiver. I guess Roman Wilson was the other receiver outside. I think
he did get open on Benford once, and they missed. But yeah,
that was on him more than anything else.
Yeah.
So again, I thought that overall there was some good plays, and like I said, Pittsburgh's not a great team, but we did what we were supposed to, and they dominated him when it mattered. And Joey Bosa broke Aaron Rodgers' nose, and that's a fun way to do it.
That was fun. Yes.
On the special teams, most of it was good. Our containment was good. Neither of the kicking was particularly great.
I didn't think special teams was,
Wisnowski had one good punt, but also had a really bad touchback where he kicked it.
That was a tough one. That took a tough bounce through the end zone.
It kind of rocketed forward.
That's his first one of the year. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Correct. So he's been good directionally, but that one kind of stunk.
Somebody brought it up.
Position.
Here I want to find it. I won't be able to find it.
Are you nervous about Prater? Like again, he's still on the. I think it's something crazy. Like now he made 4 out of 5 today, so now it's like 49 out of 53. I think he's made kicks so far this year, but another extra point missed. Back-to-back games with a miss. I'm not overly concerned, but I felt a lot better previously. This was outdoor, probably one of the hardest places to kick in the league, really high wind on a cold day. I'm not overly concerned, but I did wonder, I wonder how healthy Tyler Bass is. I don't have any concerns. I'm not ready to make a switch, but it's a couple in a row, and it made me wonder.
Sure. The nice thing is I don't know where Tyler Bass is at, but we've heard that there's progression for Tyler Bass and that he is making some progress. I don't know if he's going to have enough to get back this year. I heard Chris Brown, I think, say something a couple weeks back where he had seen him kicking, but no more than like 30 yards. Like there was just not power in his kicks. He's like ramping up the power, but he hadn't kicked more. I'm sure that's increased here by now. So I don't know what that timetable is, but to know that you have it in your back pocket and that you're not reaching for street free agents if it goes south for you with Prater. Right now, I'm not super concerned about it. Maybe not my biggest concern, but my biggest annoyance right now with the special teams is I'm okay with the concept of sort of a toothless punt return if it's playing safe. I used to get so frustrated with the high variance of an Isaiah McKenzie punt return game where, yes, maybe he will break one and it will be a big play, but also he can lose a game for you by putting it on the floor. Khalil Shakir doesn't give you that. It's the Micah Hyde. Put him back there, get a fair catch. I do think he's more athletic. They clearly want him to just secure punts. Yeah. That's okay. You cannot pair that with penalties.
Yeah.
You can't field the ball in the 17-yard line and then also get a holding call. We just can't have it. You can't be toothless and make mistakes.
And even less so, it was easier to be okay with that when we just had a juggernaut top 3 offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
We don't have that right now. We kind of need field position to help us out in some of these because we have plenty of ugly drives where we're not able to get the passing game going. And,
that's a lot to ask of a run game to go 85 yards.
Yeah. And so getting some net benefit from the return game, I was excited about the idea of Mecole Hardman. Again, maybe he comes back from IR from the calf thing and becomes that returner later in the year, which I kind of think is possible because they didn't cut him.
McDermott also was praising him the entire week after. There was no we're frustrated by he was like fumble, that play we saw, that explosiveness is why we brought him in.
Yes. Correct. His McDermott's press conference the day after talking about the injury completely changed my tune. I was joking about being put on IR with a fractured trust and those kind of things where I was like, oh, well, he's never playing in a Bills uniform again. When I saw McDermott's press conference the next day, I was like, oh, maybe. Okay. All right. Maybe he is going to be a part of this. So again, 3 more games after this, he can't come back until he's off of IR, but I do think it's possible that, let's see, what do we have left? We have 5 games left. So 2 games in the regular season and then the playoffs. Maybe that's enough time to get him back here to be the returner. They put him directly in when he signed. So I wouldn't mind that, to have the possibility of getting a chunk play on special teams, because I think we kind of need it. Wisnowski has been functional as a punter. I'm confident in that being a net positive, even if a slight one. And then Prater has been relatively trustworthy here, although chipping away at some of that trust bit by bit as we go. So I just want to get it to where special teams is a neutral. I don't want it to be a net negative. And right now it's been probably hovering just below average, and I'd like to get a little bit more out of that.
I think for me, you clean up the penalties and they're an average unit. It's the unacceptable level of penalties for me. And again, that might just be some bias. I'd have to actually go out and look relatively how many penalties they've had. It
feels like every time. I'm sure it's not literally, but it feels every play.
It feels more often than the other teams.
Yes.
So
yes, I would love to see a ranking of special teams penalties specifically. So we need to find that.
More data on that anyway, just like in starting field position and why. Why are teams having? Yeah.
Oh, gross. All right. So a couple super chats here before we go drive by drive. Chief here with maybe one from your former life, as you were more politically motivated. Late to wild take from the Texans game, but I can't wait till Texas secedes, so we never have to play in Houston again. Very interesting. If Texas were to leave the Union here, although I think having a team in Toronto, we could have a team in Canada. So
the NFL would love it. It would be an international.
Yeah, they would just be the first international, teams, their game there. Right. So, Arthur saying, "Hey, wait, are we only talking about the Bills game? When do we get the trip report from Greg? Maybe that'll be some Discord cover one pass content only. I will do a full breakdown of all the various Mickey shaped treats and snacks that I devoured, and had a wonderful time on the trip. The weather was amazing. Had a great time. Ate an obscene amount of really good food. Everybody had a good time. Good time.
And you showed me up. You stayed off Twitter. I did not think you could do it. Congratulations. But I want a little credit for incentivizing you to do it. Me talking some smack gave you the edge that you needed.
100%. You use very, very Cam Hayward or Josh Allen, I guess, on the other side of it. Yeah. Yes, I think you actually. I was going to. I obviously I'm very focused on the trip and the family, and there it's the only time of the year that I'm 100% only focused there on the family and nothing work wise. So it's great, but I probably would have looked at stuff or doom scrolled at night when I was in the hotel bed, and I swear I didn't open the app once. You told me about the Brandon Cook signing via text. I didn't know. And I didn't find out that we cut Elijah Moore to make room for him until I got back. I didn't know that Elijah Moore wasn't on the Bills until we got back. So I mean it genuinely. I wasn't sneaky scrolling in there. I did not open the app. I went in and turned off notifications because I don't have the willpower to not look if I get the pop-up on my phone.
I do not have Twitter notifications on.
I might never turn them back on.
No.
I turned them off so I couldn't see anything of what was there, and it made it easy to ignore. It was wonderful.
No, my family already, when they grab my phone, they're so annoyed by the Discord notification that come through. I couldn't do more than what yet.
Yeah. Padden here saying just got back. If Bosa's out, we just keep moving with Dorian. Keep workshopping it. Keep working. You're getting there. We'll get there. I do like the creativity they're using on the third and longs. We've had different ones with 3 defensive ends, 2 linebackers, 3 corners, 3 safeties. We've had ones with 4 defensive linemen, and a defensive tackle, but 3 defensive ends and 1 linebacker. We've had a bunch of really creative positional usage and personnel usage on third and longs. And it's been interesting. So I know obviously we've had a lot of injuries and some weird combinations here. So getting that to where I think their plan was to do that a lot with Michael Hoyt. Again, pour one out for our guys. Sad to lose him, but I like that they've kept some of the creativity that they had planned on using when he was going to be there.
Yeah.
Hey, CTP, you're saying you're going to make me download Discord again, aren't you? It's a great choice. Come hang out with us. I had a great time in the game day chat there. It's the best place to be.
I still can't do the game day chat. Something about YouTube TV. No, it's not even the roller coaster. Something about YouTube TV. I'm like 15 seconds or so. Not even. It might only be like 5 seconds, but it feels like 15.
Enough that if you see people's reaction before you see the play, that is a bad experience.
I don't want that.
So we'll get there. All right, let's go through our friends at West Herr sponsoring the drive-by drive. We'll get to our West Herr drive of the game. I assume it's not the first drive of the game. Bills go 7 plays, 35 yards. Had a little something going. Yeah. Felt good. Brandon Cooks made a play right off. Scared the Steelers with his deep speed. One of those I used to love the John Brown plays where he would scare them with the go route, so they would give him so much cushion that he'd just get a free comeback. And they did that. Cooks got a 13-yard comeback route on 3rd and 8 because they were afraid of him going deep. Unfortunately, James Cook fumbled on the next play, but got the ball back. It was okay. That was good. All right. Then Alec Anderson jumps off, kind of afraid of the pass rush. I can't really fault him, but hey, get your stuff together. And then Josh tries to throw a slant to Gabe Davis and instead throws it directly to Brandon Echols. Like it looked like he was the intended receiver. It just like threw it so directly to him that he was kind of startled that it just threw it to him. Yeah. And then Gabe trying to like fight into it, almost like helped him catch it. It was just a really frustrating spot. Like, oh God, like we were moving the ball fine. And all of a sudden it's like, and it was just deflating because again, we've seen Josh Allen's awesome. We hold him to his own standard. But we've seen like not MVP level Josh a couple times, and to have that on the first drive was just like a rough wake up call. That like, all right.
It just feels like he's a tick off, a tick late, a tick early all season. The struggle to get into a rhythm for him is something that I can't put a finger on. I've been looking into it. I can't find it. He's not the only problem that you talk about the flaws, but one of the most frustrating things to talk about is that he is sometimes part of the problem. And with the turnovers that they've had, they ran that graphic right after this where they talked about the early season success and then turning the ball over and then having a couple games of no turnovers. And you see how the wins stack up, and it is coinciding with the turnovers. So if they can clean this up and Josh can just, we don't need him to be the crazy hero ball. If that comes out at some point, fantastic. If he's going to make some crazy throws, fantastic. But if you're going to be an offense that is a run first offense and you're just going to throw some short stuff, I think Adam Pencil said his average depth of target at one point in the game was like 1.5 yards or something. If you're going to do that though, those 1.5 yard throws cannot be into the belly of the other guy. You have to be accurate.
Yeah. So fortunately, defense picks him up. They got a little something going at first. I was a little bit scared when they did the jumbo set and went right to DK Metcalf and got him going. I did not want. He was the only guy I was actually nervous about in this game.
I had some worries about Warren. I did.
Yeah.
And Gainwell's like speed, the ability to like break one. Like those two things did cause me some concern.
Yeah. And again, he was part of it today, get converted on the 3rd and 1. Then they got got stuffed in Benford with a great run blitz on the first play after that first down, got them behind the 6. This offense cannot move the ball when they're behind the 6. Stuffed them there, got it to 3rd and 10, caused an incompletion.
Great
Trey White
with
about as perfect as you can face guard in the NFL without getting a penalty. He genuinely didn't interfere with Austin, but he never looked back for the ball and read Austin's face and hands to put his hands up without knowing the ball was coming and knocked it away blind and face guarded as well as you possibly can without getting the flag. Shouts to Trey. It was really
luckily for him, it was also Calvin Austin, not T. Higgins.
Yeah, or DK Metcalf,
or DK or somebody like that. Because I think the size did help him in that side. He was a little bit beat, but great play to stay.
Yeah, a big physical receiver probably could have lost him because he didn't see would have jumped up and just caught it without Trey turning back around. But hey, he made the play we needed to. And here, this is the slog of the first half. We come back with a 7-play, 35-yard drive.
Ray gets going though on this one. Ray Davis, baby.
Seemed like it was promising. James Cook gets the first 2 carries, then needs a blow, but Ray Davis comes in, goes 15 and then 12.
Yeah.
Here's the downside of the spamming. Ran the same play again. Davis got stuffed, so now it's for 2nd and 12. Then Alec Anderson has another false start. Now 2nd and 17. We're better than Pittsburgh. We're not a ton better than Pittsburgh. We're not great behind the sticks either. So now 2nd and 17, and you're in, a weird spot there. We get it back to.
They called off that face mask. I don't know. That was a good call by the line judges. But later
that was like New York going in on
correct. Or that's what I meant by New York replay. But later in the game, they didn't. There was another. I have it noted out. I'll have to bring this back up later. They didn't do it. I want that more consistently. Like you're going to make those quick turnaround calls. Fantastic. Do it all the time. Sorry.
So I was very question from Zenter there. He asked, why don't we use Davis more? Do you feel like, one, James Cook is our best offensive player besides Josh Allen. So we want him to touch the ball as much as possible. He has produced more than Ray Davis has in the same situation. So he's created more than Ray has created from the same blocking. Do you want to see, from one, that Ray can produce, and 2, from the sense of, hey, we don't want to burn out James before we get to the playoffs or even in the playoffs? Are you okay with this mix? Do you want to see a slight uptick? What would you want to see the split be? Today, 32-9 is almost that exactly like 75-25 kind of mix that you would want to see. This was almost like 76, 77%, 23%. So I guess that's about right. I don't want to see more than that.
The problem is it's volume, right? Today you got a lot more volume than you would otherwise get if you dial this back to a normal game and Cook's hanging out around 20 touches. Then those runs for Ray go down to whatever, the 3 or 4 that he's getting per game. And so this game looks more, he's getting more volume. And I do think Ray Davis is a running back that would operate more productively with more volume, but that's a fine line to walk for Brady, Cromer, and the running back coach of, you do have James Cook and he is the fastball of this offense. You have an offense that has continued to stagnate. I think if we started seeing him get pulled off in some of these times where the offense gets going and then you pull James Cook off for a drive and give it a Ray Davis drive and he produces nothing, people will bring their pitchforks and go right to one Bills drive the next night. So it's easy to say in a game like this where he does have success and looks pretty good that you want to get him the ball more often. I think he is earning the opportunity to get some more touches. Ty Johnson also does a pretty good job with some of his touches. So it's a fine spot to walk. They have the number 1 or 2 rushing attack in the NFL, depending on what week it is and who you're asking. So they're doing some stuff right. I do think you brought up some legitimate concern I have is that James Cook has never really been the workhorse. 32 touches. That is insane.
That was just carries. It's 35. There's 35 touches.
Yeah, that's insane. I don't love that I don't think he's that guy. I don't know that he has the frame to take. He also took a pretty good beating on a lot of those touches. He plays with a physical style. There is a lot of football left. And so I do think there's some concern of like, let's keep the fastball a little healthy. You got to manage that somehow.
Did you also notice, I think he realized or was told, I don't know which one, that the run game was going to be the key of this game. Several plays were earlier in the season he would duck out of bounds on his own.
Sure.
He turned back upfield to fight for an extra 2 or 3 yards, which I'm really glad that's in his arsenal because we want to see that in the playoffs. I'm fine with it in the second quarter of a week 9 game. Like, I don't need you to fight for the extra 2 or 3 yards every single time when it's multiple defenders. Tonight, times where there was multiple defenders, no realistic shot that he was going to break it, he turned back in bounds against Jalen Ramsey, against like bigger physical guys, Kyle Duggar, and fought for the extra 2 or 3 yards over and over again, like multiple times where it was a noticeable decision, but also tired him out more where he had to come out for drives like this, where this is not a Ray Davis drive.
This one he checked out, I think, because he had a helmet issue. He came off the
this
field.
is the equipment one.
He had an equipment issue on that drive, but he was starting to get tired towards the end. I do think that what you pointed out was actually probably part of the overall what we saw from a lot of players in this one. I think there's a sense of urgency for the Bills this week.
They know they have no more cushion.
No more taking those plays and not fighting for the extra yards. There's no more of that. You have to put it all out on the line for guys. And I think you saw a lot of guys playing like that. But when it's James Cook, it's elite and more noticeable.
Yeah, you gave your cushion to Michael Penix, Tua Tagovailoa, and Davis Mills.
Correct.
That was your cushion.
Yeah. So good that they got that message. But yes, it is nice to see him fighting for the extra.
Yeah. So
this was a frustrating series of plays because the field position got real wonky here, even though no offense occurred.
So we're at midfield. All the penalties kind of mess it up. We punt from Pittsburgh territory, but we also that's where the bad bounce happened for Wisnowski. So we punted it into the end zone. They have a couple plays, but we hold up really well. They punt it back, but we get the penalty the other direction. So the combination of we should be like set up really, really well, but instead now somehow we went from punting to Pittsburgh. If you told me that, hey, we're going to punt from Pittsburgh territory and then get a 3 and out, I'd be like, oh, great. So we're going to start
the ball back at midfield,
right?
Yeah.
Like that should be perfect.
Correct.
Somehow we punted the ball from our territory, got a 3 and out, and the next offensive play we ran was at our own 13. Yeah. And it was a 51-yard punt, like a fine punt. Yeah. It wasn't some amazing historic punt, but you have a touchback and then get the penalty on the other end of the fair
30
catch.
Yards.
You turn it into a 61-yard punt, and it's a 30-yard swing on those two things, or at least a 20-yard swing.
Correct.
Probably should have been down to the 10. Just frustrating to be in that spot.
This is Tomlin ball. That's Tomlin's gonna get you into these wonky spots where it's like
shouts Greg Moore here. Oh. We return the favor with our own 3 and out here, probably our worst drive of the game.
Yeah.
We run the same play, spam it again, get they open up
swing
with the play
pass and then a Cook toss.
Yeah, they get an actual swing pass to Cook, which was nice. They actually looked really good. They made a nice open field tackle on that play where Cook looked like he should have gone for more yards.
There was a number of those by their cornerbacks where it was like a 5-yard run, but that was about to be a 45-yard run.
Yes, could have been a big one. Yeah. And this is the one where I think you mentioned it, where it would have been a tough catch, but you still would like to see Shakir make it.
It hit him in the hands. He had a defender on his hips, pulling him down. Josh threw it a little hot. If he's I don't know. That was one of these moments, Greg, where I keep coming back to. I still think I'm right about him. I think it's been more Brady, but those are the moments where I really am like, if you're the guy I'm saying you are, that's a catch you got to make.
Yeah, and you add that in there. We do need Kincaid back. I think that is very critical to this passing offense. But give me back Palmer, give me back Kincaid, give me back Dawkins and Spencer Brown, and I'll feel a lot better about this offense going forward. So here we get a nice punt by Wisnowski for 52 yards. And again, the Steelers just can't do much with it. We get an incompletion. They did get a nice run by Jalen Warren here, 12-yard run. But then we get incomplete, 1-yard run incomplete. And just they can't get much of anything going. DK could have had a little something on the one incompletion. And then Waitman, their punter, had a 26-yard punt. So he was so afraid of getting the touchback that he gave us the touchback
anyway. Yeah.
When they had to, and I think it hit at the 16 and bounced back to the 20 or the 18 back to the 20.
Top.
So, it was here. Unfortunately, here we couldn't capitalize. We got a little something going here again. Another
play action twice in a row.
Yes, ran a great play action to James Cook for 13 yards, who was our leading receiver on the day. We're moving the way down the field. Ran a nice run play to Ty Johnson on 3rd and 2. He converts. It looks like we got something going. We're about to get to midfield, and James Cook self fumbles. Like he knees the ball out of his own hand. Like it was super, super weird.
Fell on it and it still bounced away from him.
Yeah, fell on it. Looked like he fully had it recovered and then squirted it out from underneath.
It's such a weird shape ball.
He couldn't do it again if he tried. He could not do it again if you gave him 100 tries. He couldn't do that again.
Tough. Yeah. Weird shaped ball bounce. These things are so hard. Like I said earlier, these kind of turnovers are so wonky and hard to quantify. But can't have them, man. But good on Sean McDermott. 2 years ago, probably would bench him for a drive or two or something like that. We didn't see it. He knows where his bread is buttered this year.
Yeah. Yes. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this turnover led to the Steelers only only touchdown.
Turn it over
points
at the pit,
of the game.
39.
They go on a 39. Yeah, a 39-yard touchdown drive is never great.
Yeah.
They came out with a nice play right off the bat, got it to DK Metcalf. Then hit another one to Kenny Gainwell. I was a little bit nervous about him. He is a very slippery player. I was probably more nervous about him than Warren in this game. And then get to where they finally did push it in with Jaylen Warren on the run play, where we're never going to be like a great short yardage team. I thought we were going to hold up there, but they punch it in. They go up 7-0, and it just felt deflating that the defense had played really well in the first half here, and now we're losing because we couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, I mean, really common theme this year where I think the defense probably overperforms expectations of them in a game, and then the offense doesn't reward the favor, especially early in a game. And you felt like that here. Obviously, special teams in the field position flipping that happened over the 4 or 5 possessions there played into that as well. But the turnover leading to that, it's such a shame because the defense was playing so well and giving the offense a chance that such a wonky turnover leads to points at that point. But really felt like here we go again with the turnover stuff, like feeling like you're going to have two more in a game like this. But luckily they were able to hold on the ball from here on out.
Yeah. And so the Bills go on a weirdly deflating dominant drive, like 16 plays, 60 yards, 7 minutes and 18 seconds. Like 16 plays in 7 minutes and 18 seconds. That should be like a really like demoralizing drive for the defense. But
that's a win for Pittsburgh. It ends up being a win.
Yeah, this ended up being like a really a really good ending for them. Mm-hmm. So it starts out with a 14-yard run by Cook, go right back to him again. Josh scrambles and runs a couple plays in a row. We're moving the ball down the field. We get a really nice play, like a double screen where they like fake the screen to the wide receiver screen to the one side, then went back to Ty Johnson, and then he gets a 9-yard run on like a double screen type play, and then keep it moving. And we have again another scramble from Josh, and we're kind of getting it down there. We get it to 4th and short. We are 3rd and short. We convert and are able to get it in there. It looks like we're going through. James Cook gets a nice run again. Now we're running the clock down. We're at the Pittsburgh 11. We get it down to the Pittsburgh 9. We get it down to the Pittsburgh 4, and like I was really shocked they were going to go for it. But I was like, all right, hey, this is a kind of aggressive, play that we need when we're trying to tie the game. We're not trying to just kick a field goal. And then we have 2 guys jump off sides. And
Brady, I will say again, Romo and Nance called it out. Brady was he looked like he felt very confident and
felt like he had something. Yeah. And again, maybe I'm sure he feels confident a lot on plays that don't work.
Yeah. But he probably liked the look. He saw.
Yes, he thought it was there for what he called. Yeah. And going into the half there, we needed that score. And now you have to take the field goal, and you just took what should have been like a really, really powerful answer to their only points. And now it feels like a win for Pittsburgh because they got the stop. They get the ball back with, 51 seconds left and get the ball coming out of half. And just that combination was just very, very demoralizing to now be like, all right.
Super frustrating to end a drive that way, but how cool is it to be able to go 16 plays in 7 minutes of a game? Like, obviously the results stink and it's not ideal. And eventually those results lead to them feeling a win in some kind of way. And I think both in win probability that works in their favor and also in just like the idea of momentum in a game probably felt good for them. But to have that in your back pocket to be able to go run a team down and run the clock down in that kind of manner. 7 minutes to end a half, dude. And if you do score that, like you said, the demoralizing effects of a drive like that, holy cow.
Well, obviously a precursor of what we'd see in the second half.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of the point of the day, like the self-inflicted stuff. And Sean McDermott said that at halftime, like we're being ourselves here, the turnovers, this stuff, the penalties and stuff, and putting yourself out of position when you were in a spot. Those you couldn't have. So I don't know what he said, but that cleaned up over the half. Somebody, Western New York supporter, spot that I wanted to highlight here when we started talking about this, said Sal Capaccio saying a lot of the team rallied around when Josh Allen got hit by Patrick Quinn, and they didn't call it. And this was the play that I wanted to tell you I called out earlier, right here. Western New York supporters saying several Bills players told me in the locker room they felt the energy and demeanor of the team change on the sidelines after Josh was hit by Patrick Quinn just before that 2-minute mark. Yeah, it was at the 3:05 mark. I think it was, 2nd and 3. Josh Allen scrambles. He slides. Quinn comes down, hits him. This is the one, Greg, where I was saying earlier, New York called in on that face mask that didn't happen. New York's got to call in here. Like, I don't care what you think of the rule or think of Josh Allen selling extra stuff.
Sure.
This is the franchise, not only the franchise, he's one of the top players in the league. You can't have him get hit like this.
That was a crystal clear,
correct,
like roughing the quarterback, late hit. Like it was not egregious, but it was crystal clear. There was an extra beat, and Quinn finished after Josh had slid. It was very obvious that he could have held up, and he didn't.
Yes, and I hate to talk like this because I never ever wish injury upon a player, but the ball don't lie, and Quinn went down with an injury the very next play. It was a dirty play by him. I don't think he's a dirty player. He made that tackle as he was sliding.
He tried to give a little extra.
Correct. And the NFL needs to make that one every single time. New York's got to be watching that, get that one in every single time. But the fact that they didn't get that flag, I was super mad. I have notes all over my stuff. But to hear Sal say that's what flipped the switch for the team in this game, and you saw that at halftime. Awesome. If that's what it takes to flip the switch for the season, I hope that carries on.
Yeah, please continue flipping switches. I don't want it to be a dirty hit on Josh every time, but sure. Yeah, find another way to harness that and to get that back in there.
But dude, at halftime, Josh, 6 for 12, 51 yards, 1 interception. I think his quarterback. I don't like quarterback ratings, but it was in the 20s. It wasn't
not great.
Not good.
Not great. So oddly, I felt anxious about this first play of the second half.
Yeah,
because
I think I would like to take over.
Oh, please.
And I'm gonna cheat and make this my West Herr drive of the game here just for a minute. We're gonna come out of the half here frustrated because the Bills obviously, like you said, took that 7 minutes off the clock. You only get 3. That felt like a win, and it felt like that win was almost the ability not to double dip necessarily for the Steelers, but to get that kind of momentum that you would get from a double dip if they were able to come out and put a drive together at half and take some of the win out of the Bills' sails. But instead, 1st and 10, Aaron Rodgers back, kind of running around a little bit. Joey Bosa blindsides him into another galaxy, into an ayahuasca trip in the offseason, puts him right into the turf. That ball comes out. Benford's right there for the scoop and score. Bills defense puts up more points than the offense right out of the gate, out of the half. But I'm not done. That's not where my drive of the game ends, because then the Bills kick back off to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh goes, 1, 2, 3, 4 plays before a Benford interception. Mason Rudolph comes in the game here. Rodgers got a bloody nose on the sideline. Hurt. Mason Rudolph comes in, overthrows the ball right to Benford. Again, I'm not going to give Benford too much credit for that one. That one just kind of ended up right in his stomach in coverage, but they get the ball back on the Buffalo 44. And then this is where your offense finally comes back onto the field after not being able to finish off the drive before that. After a long sustained drive, you go Cook 3 yards, Knox for the first down. You're already past midfield here because of the interception. You get Cook for 31 yards on a 2nd and 4, just absolutely bursts through. I think he had 4 or 5 of these runs in him today where Porter Jr. made a couple nice tackles on the outside that didn't allow these to go out. But this one, he gets out a 31 yarder, and then it's 2-2-1. It's a 4th and goal. Keon on the slant for a touchdown. Good for Keon. He's had a really rough couple of weeks here. So for him to get back in, be at game day active, playing in this game, and then getting on the board here with the touchdown. But the play by Allen to fake, get the defender up in the air, step into this one, and just put a dime right on Keon here in the back. Sorry, it wasn't a slant. That's right. Keon was kind of scrambling around in the back. And then you get the flag here, also taunting on Hayward because he's still talking. He's still mad from earlier when we were talking. And then this is where you do get the mixed extra point. But this is where the game for me really came open. This offense by Pittsburgh really wasn't able to do anything in the first half. All you needed was an arm's length in this game, and the Bills defense gave it to you, and the offense finally capitalized, giving you some complimentary football here and allowing you to come back here and put yourself back in this game and take control of it. So this was my series of West Her's drive of the game.
No, it's really well done. I think that's a great call. I will say on Joey Bosa's strip sack fumble, if we're being technical, he for sure landed on Rodgers with his full body weight. And the whole time I was watching, being like, don't call this back, don't call this back, don't call this back. He didn't brace at all. Like, it's why Rodgers broke his nose.
Sure.
Is because he landed with his full body weight on Aaron Rodgers. And I hate that that's a rule, but it is a rule, and they should have called it on that play.
I don't know how you can call it on that play, man.
They shouldn't. Like, I'm super glad they didn't.
You can't call that.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They should have called it.
Because there's no other way to tackle that tackle.
Correct.
There's nothing he can...
I hate those ones where you're going at it and like he hit him clean, like we're in the middle of the back. That's how he knocked the ball out. And I know they want him to put his arms out and brace yourself as you're falling, and it's just not something. It's not natural. He also has a broken wrist or whatever messed up,
whatever his thing is,
whatever club that he's playing with. But I will say, as it was happening, I was like, oh, please don't call this back. Don't call this back. And thankfully they didn't.
They did not. So it stays my drive of the game there. Bills are up 16-7, and it keeps getting better from here. Right?
Yeah, so it's going to lead right into my West Herr drive of the game. So obviously they come right back after that drive. Now there's some momentum, but Pittsburgh, hey, they're going to try to get themselves back. Rodgers comes back in. And I'm like, all right, I felt a lot better when it was Mason Rudolph.
Although Mason Rudolph was pushing the ball down the field.
Yes, he was actually taking shots down the field. We stuff Gainwell on the first play of the drive, so now they're behind the sticks. We get an incompletion to Gainwell. They get 8 yards, and like I know it was deep in their territory, but this is one of those, like, the definition of analytics is don't do what the other team wants you to do. Like with Darnell Washington and their like huge group of tight ends, I did not want them to run the ball against our run defense on 4th and 1. And they didn't, and they punted us the ball. And not only did they give us the ball, we kept it for 8 minutes and 14 seconds. Yeah. They gave us the ball halfway through the third quarter. We exhausted the rest of the third quarter and went into the fourth quarter, and they didn't get another chance at the ball until 14 minutes left in the game. Now down 23-7. This was just an absolutely dominant game. Great play action on second down to Jackson Hawes, who like tiptoed up the sideline. Josh had a really nice scramble on the one play for 11 yards and just mixing in Ray Davis for 3 plays here. Went right back to more Josh runs. We had a debate in the Discord channel where obviously Joe Brady has had many things that were too cute here this year with jet sweeps and weird spots. The 4th and 2 run where they did the quick hitter fullback dive to Ty Johnson, I really liked that play because I didn't see it coming. Pittsburgh obviously didn't see it coming.
Tony Romo saw it coming.
It wasn't trickeration. It wasn't a slow developing play. It wasn't something where you have somebody moving in the opposite direction of where they need to go. I get the results-oriented nature of like, oh, if he gets stuffed on that, you're going to hate it. Well, any play that doesn't work on 4th down, you're going to not like. I thought that was a really like not innovative, but like a creative usage of that where you didn't expect it. We have that pony set a lot where we use an actual running back in the the offset fullback spot when it's not Gilliam, but normally that's Gilliam there, to hit that with Ray Davis on the short quick hitter, I thought was an innovative play. There was a lot of folks in the Discord channel who didn't like that play call. How did you feel about it?
I like play calls that work. I think it's a change up. It's a tendency breaker. You're going to have some of those. Now it's on film too. So I think that hesitates how teams defend now when you go back to just going to cook in that moment. I also like some of the short yard usage of Ray Davis in this game. I think he's pretty decent short yard back. So I like that ability that you can run out there and know that you can pick up that fourth down with confidence and get inside the ball there. Have no issues with the play call. Again, maybe if it didn't work, but honestly, I didn't even have issues. People have been mad at Brady for getting too cute in spots. Like the Knox one, I was mad at the results. Like I've also seen that play work. So you know what I mean? Like the results are frustrating. But no, good play call. I'm not going to be mad.
They come right back. I love the another pass to Cook here. This was like that fullback lead swing pass. This one hit for 16 yards. We did get a stuff where Cam Hayward finally got frustrated and threw David Edwards aside and blew this play up for a 3-yard loss because we were telegraphing it pretty clearly. And then this is one of the most disrespectful touchdown runs I can remember. Josh Allen scores from 8 yards out. It's 3rd and goal from the 8. He was stopped at the 4-yard line, maybe the 3, and then we shoved him. This isn't like being stopped at the 1 and pushing into the end zone. Like he was stopped at like the 4-yard line, and we shoved him the rest of the way into the end zone.
Carried into the
end zone. His head feet might not have touched the ground for half of those yards.
You could see him like smiling, laughing while he was getting picked up. I'll have to go back. And post it, but
but shout out to our guys at West Herr. We appreciate them very much. You hear me say it every time. The biggest auto dealership in New York State, one of the biggest employers in Western New York, and a great place to get your next vehicle. Make sure you check out the folks over at West Herr and appreciate everything that they're doing here.
I just saw a giant West Herr, a Subaru, a big old Subaru West Herr. I didn't even know I was on the way to pick up my Christmas tree, and I was like, I didn't know there was a West Herr out here. It's big, beautiful one. So shout out to you guys, man. They pop up all over the place.
Yeah, keep up the great work. And now Pittsburgh put together what oddly was their best drive of the game.
Which makes sense. Now the Bills you're up 23-7. Like
yes,
backing off a little bit here.
Yeah, trying to give some cushion here and there, and even started with a crazy like snap over Rodgers' head for a 16-yard loss where he has to just fall on the fumbled ball. And they come back. They hit Darnell Washington is an absolute freight train.
So stupid to be that big and move.
Oh my god! We love Spencer Hawes. Like he's like Spencer Hawes plus 50 pounds.
Dude, this play when like
unreal.
Bill, like when you have Trey White and I think Taron Johnson just making tackle attempts. Honestly, my wife is like, that looks like you and the boys in the backyard. Like
it looked like a little kid, like them trying to pull down their dad. Like he is such
he's a
freaking
big
monster.
It's a big man.
Went right back, got another one to DK Metcalf. Then Jaylen Warren got a run going, and now it's like, oh man, don't give this up. They keep moving. They hit another one to Darnell Washington that again looked pretty terrifying. Cole Bishop made a better tackle attempt than Trey White did, but he was already 26 yards down the field by the time it happened, so it didn't really matter. Then we get a couple incompletions. They get it to where they get Gainwell an 8-yarder on 3rd and 10. So they're at 4th and 2. They're down 16. They're down 19 at this point, so they have to go for it. But they, kind of telegraph it. Groot blows up
Jordan Phillips too, I think, on this.
Yes, he did. Jordan Phillips had great penetration. Groot had great penetration. Blow it up. Kenneth Gainwell for a 2-yard loss and got like the exasperated kind of hand wave from Rodgers that they got blown up on 4th and 2 and tried to run the ball. And it was a long 2 yards. It would have taken like a 3-yard run to really convert here. Completely took the wind out of their sails. And then even more so, the Bills then took the next 9 minutes and 4 seconds off the clock. just completely demoralized them, just straight down the field. Hit a nice one to Dawson Knox, but otherwise it was just a constant barrage of runs over and over and over again. Ended up settling for the field goal, but they were playing the clock at that point and probably could have gone for it if they really wanted to, but put them up 19. There was up 3 scores. There was nothing they were going to do at that time. We completely salted the game away. And again, I mentioned it earlier, but that combination, the last 2 drives of the game, 29 plays, 155 yards, 17 minutes and 14 seconds in 2 drives. They ran more than a quarter off the clock in 2 drives when you're already leading. That is ultimate 4-minute football, like ultimate stuff, where it's just incredible to be able to put that together.
Yeah, and we obviously talked about the end of the first half being a failure, but add in that 16-play, 60-yard drive, taking 7 minutes off the clock, you're talking about half the football game almost in 3 drives that you just controlled the pace of the game. And, not to look ahead, I do think that's got to be part of your plan when you play the Bengals is if you take 24 minutes off the clock with 3 long drives and you're only on the field and you keep Burrow off the field for that amount of time, bingo, sign me up.
Done.
Yeah.
All right. So before we bring producer Colin Ritchie up here for the best stats of the game, any final thoughts on what we saw here in tonight's performance?
I think a microcosm of the season, flawed team, flawed game, didn't play their best, found a way to win. These wins that are building up some calluses on this team, I think hopefully will pay dividends down the road. They have found a lot of different ways to win games that they either don't deserve to win or, they do deserve to win, but they had to find a different way to do it because of the circumstances. I think that should benefit them long-term. And that's, what I got out of this game is you have a team that has multiple ways to win a game. And it's to the opponent, and they made a lot of adjustments in the second half. So there's a lot of good things to take away, but to your point, you said it earlier, still a lot to work on. And I think that's an okay spot to be where they are right now.
Yeah. I'm pretty comfortable with that combination. I think that's the right way to go about it. All right. Without further ado, for this week's edition of What's Brewing from our friends over at Southern Tier Brewing Company, fantastic producer Colin Ritchie. Colin, how we doing?
Doing good. Always a good post-game show after a Bills win. And, the first half was a little bit slow, as you guys mentioned, but picked things up in the second half and some fun stats to get to today.
Yeah. So, Shares, hit us with the best ones you found.
Sure. So you guys mentioned the 249 rushing yards being the most Pittsburgh has given up in that stadium. It's also the most Pittsburgh has allowed to an opposing team since 1975, when the Bills had 310 rushing yards against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's 1975. The Bills had a killer running game.
And then on the flip side of that, Pittsburgh had 166 total yards, which is the fewest they've ever had in their current stadium and fewest at home since 1994 in Week 1 against Dallas.
Yeah, the full team stat chart is really rough. 372 total yards is fine. That's not even that great of an offensive performance. 166 total yards is bad news. That's bad. Not good.
Not good stuff. Yeah, no. Aaron Rodgers is cancer. He destroys teams. I called that all the way in the back when it started. So
shout out Ryan Talbot for this stat. Jalen Ramsey is now 0-7 all time against Josh Allen.
That's a shame.
Hate to see it.
And then a couple defensive players moving into the franchise leaderboard. So Christian Benford is the 3rd Bill ever with a fumble return touchdown and an interception in the same game. I'm not even going to have you try to guess the other 2. I'll just let you know. It's Drayton Florence in 2010. And
I was going to say Drayton Florence, dude.
Awesome. Come on. It's awesome.
And Daryl Porter in 2001.
That one, I don't even believe you. I think you're making that up. Did you get that from ChatGPT?
No, I actually. Okay. So Bill's PR actually said the most recent one was Drayton Florence and mentioned he was the 3rd Bill all time, but didn't say who the other one was. So I had to dig through Pro Football Reference and found Daryl Porter in 2001 versus the Chicago Bears.
And isn't Daryl Porter? Isn't he the son of a former Bill or someone?
Are you thinking of Joey Porter
Jr.? At that game. I don't
even
remember.
No, not Joey Porter. Joey Porter Jr. The Drayton Florence one, or
this Derek Porter game, right? That was 0-1 Bills. It was a Travis Henry walk-off overtime touchdown on a screen pass. I remember everything else about this game.
So
I'm pretty sure it was at the Ralph, right? 2001.
There's something about Daryl Porter.
His son Daryl Porter Jr. was on the Bills practice squad or off-season or practice squad member in 2025 for the Bills.
Okay. There was something there's something in my brain that popped up. Something happened up with his dad or his son that just came back up. The reason why I knew Daryl Porter existed as a player that I did not remember. Great
pull. This offseason, we signed him as an undrafted free agent, and then we waived him on July 28th.
Crazy.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And then another one for you. Joey Bosa tied the single season franchise record with 5 forced fumbles this season. I went back and found it was most recently done by Aaron Schobel in 2007. He also did it in 2004. Bruce Smith did it 3 times. And then Darryl Talley, Nate Clements, and here's one for you. Lucius Sanford did it in 1980.
Huge Lucius Sanford guy. Big Lucius Sanford guy.
Yeah, big man. Big man.
And then finally, Sean McDermott now moves to 5-1 against Mike Tomlin when including the playoffs, the best record of any coach to have faced Tomlin 3 or more times.
Don't get me wrong. I know there's some people who are very similar conversations to the Bills and McDermott with Pittsburgh fans and Tomlin of like has his message run stale, and like literally never having a losing season. 5-1 against a darn good coach. That is a genuine achievement.
And then, I do have one more for you that it's a fun one because it actually has nothing to do with the Bills game today, but it has to do with the Minnesota Vikings game today. Max Brosmer, their undrafted free agent rookie quarterback, he started his first career game with JJ McCarthy out. He's the first player with 4 interceptions in their first career start since Nathan Peterman had 5 versus the Chargers in 2017.
That's fun. I will say, doesn't take Peterman completely off the hook because I know he had another disastrous game as well. But when you take into the fact that he's got Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson and like Addison
and TJ Hawkinson,
Nathan Peterman didn't have none of that. So that was genuinely right up there for like context included, the worst start in NFL history.
Yeah, Patton also adding that McDermott tied John Madden for most wins in their first 9 seasons.
I did hear that.
He's also tied with not JJ McCarthy, Mike McCarthy and John Madden. He just passed both of them.
Wow,
that's a weird list.
It's
that's 2 very different coaches in my opinion.
Yes, correct. Quite different. All right. Any other good nuggets before we wish the people a good evening?
I'll just wrap up that Patton point. McDermott now trails Paul Brown and George Seifert for most career wins in first 9 seasons. Those are only 2 coaches with more than him.
How many more?
We should fire him before he gets.
So McDermott earned his 94th win. Paul Brown had 96 in 9 years, so that's attainable. George Seifert had 106, so that record's not going to get touched.
That Bill Walsh Niners team that he inherited was ridiculous, but 9 seasons is credit. That's not like Barry Switzer stuff. Barry Switzer literally just was there for the ride for his Jimmy Johnson team that he was handed. 9 seasons for Seifert. I think Seifert gets talked about like he was Barry Switzer, but he was like 9 seasons and you put up 106 wins. Obviously you had Montana and Rice, Steve Young and Rice.
I was going to say too, John Taylor. The Bills benefited from that lacking salary cap era as well. Like once you had a good team, way easier to keep.
Yeah, correct. To sustain success when you have multiple Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you to our friends over at Southern Tier Brewing Company. Really appreciate it. Keep your eyes out. We might have a live show coming up here in a couple of weeks. We'll be sending out details on that soon. But looking forward to seeing some of you guys and coming and hanging out and getting to meet some of the folks in person from Southern Tier. Any other thoughts for the people before we close things out?
Enjoy this for the 24 hours before climbing in your Cincinnati Bengals fear bunkers, people.
Richard here saying just appreciating the content. Thanks, guys, and go Bills. Appreciate you very much, man. That means a lot. But yeah, this is a fun. It was definitely what I needed after kind of checking out of all Bills content for 10 days, this is a great way to return. I now can actually tolerate listening to actual national shows. It was also great because like a ton of my commute time for work, shower time, getting ready, just my default is using podcasts and listening, and like not having the option to do that while I was on vacation was great because I skipped all of the things where people realistically were probably just saying terrible things about the Bills. So I got to miss that, and I get to go back to normal stuff.
That's right.
It's much, much better. So thank you for everybody here in the chat. Help us out. Give us a like, give us a rating, give us a review. Come back in after this is done. Give us a comment. Let us know your favorite part, or just tell us that you're there to help the algorithm. Just let us know what you can do. That's the best way to help us out here. If you know anybody else who loves the team and is enjoying what's going on here, want to learn more about it, tell them about it. Bring us back in here. It really means a lot. But on behalf of fantastic producer Colin Ritchie and my lovely co-host Aaron Quinn, I am Greg Tompsett. You have been listening to Cover One Buffalo, and we are out.